So if you've ever wondered how to go about cutting up sheet goods on a sliding table saw, well, stick around, because in this video I'm going to show you how I go about it, as well as some tips and tricks on how to set up your machine so that you get really good results. I was recently asked if I had a video on how I go about cutting up sheet goods on the slider. And while, I've made plenty of videos where I am using the slider, cutting up sheet goods, I guess I haven't really explained how I go about it. I think what is interesting, when I started to think about it, was how you have to get things set up just right in order for things to work, at least the way I do it. Because I actually do use a combination of cutting things up on the left side of the blade as well as the right side, or the rip side, and I do that at the same time. It's all in the one process. You've got to keep in mind that your toe out on the slider of the saw has to be spot on. Now, I couldn't tell you like an exact measurement because I don't know. When I set up the toe out on my slider, I do it by ear. And for those of you who are unsure what that means when I say toe out, essentially as material is fed through on the slider, it angles away from the saw blade. And the reason for that is so that we don't get the back of the blade coming up and tearing the back of the material. So if I get a piece of material, I'm just going to turn the dust collection off, and I'm going to do this without hearing protection so that I can actually hear it. And what I'm listening for is, obviously a cutting sound, and I'm listening to that sound, and as the material comes to the back of the blade, I want to hear a slight rubbing, if you like, but it's ever so slight. So let's try that, see if you can actually hear it. It is ever so slight, or ever so slightly toe out. So now that's that side of the blade. The rip side, obviously you want to be the same. The fence is angled slightly away from the blade at the back. Now I'm aiming for such a small difference so that when I do make a combination of cuts on the left side and the right side of the blade, it doesn't affect any of the dimensions that I'm after. So I'm going to show you that now. Perhaps the best way to show this is to make a series of cuts. Now I'm going to put the scoring blade up. Just do a trim cut here. Now, so you could hear just at the very end there, the blade is just touching on the back, or the teeth are just touching on the back side of the blade, but only just. So now, now I've just dropped the scoring blade. If I just get rid of this, I'm going to drop the blade here, and I'm going to slide the material over, keeping it nice and tight against the fence, because I know that's dead square, and I'm going to push it up against my rip fence. Now I'm nice and tight here, and on this end I'm 0.2 of a millimeter, so just less than 1/4 of a millimeter toe out over 40, what is this, 49, 48, 49, 48 inches. So again, it's really very slight. So now, another thing to consider is, you know, I'm using a scoring blade on this saw, and I have the scoring blade set fractionally wider than my main blade. So I think it's maybe 0.1 or 0.2 wider saw kerf, if you like, on that scorer than it is on my main blade. And I've halved that gap either side. So it's a little bit on the rip side, it's a little bit on the left side of the blade. So now when we put the blade back up, and now obviously, as you'll see in a minute when I cut a full sheet up, you'll see how I go about working on both sides. But I wanted to show you first just how accurate the rip side can be. Yeah, turn that on. So I'm going to make a rip cut now. So I've got the material hard against the outrigger fence. Okay, so there's nothing sort of magical about that. If you're using the rip fence as a bump stop, then it would work exactly the same. The only difference is with a sliding table saw, purely table saw, you'd slide the fence back. Being a combination machine, I can't slide this all the way back. There's a little wheel here that helps it go over all the bits and pieces in the middle. And the way it attaches to the table, it would sort of lift up. So for a bump stop, I would actually put my short rip fence on. Let's just check here. So zero that. And we have 139.6, 139.6, 139.57. So it's 0.03 difference. Let me just check. Oh, 57. Okay, so I mean, yeah, 57. So it's spot on. So even though I'm using a combination of the crosscut fence and the rip fence here on these sheet goods, I'm getting accurate results on both sides of the blade. So for a demonstration, I guess, I'm going to cut up some doors and some other panels that I need for a little job out of this ultralight MDF. So it's all going to be painted. I use a software, it's a free software called MaxCut to do all the nesting of the parts, and that makes it super easy to maximize the yield from each sheet and minimize the waste, obviously. So to begin with, I am going to make a cut on the end of the sheet just to square things up. So now that I've established that nice end cut, I'm going to make a cut at 90 degrees to that short end. So let's check it out, shall we? $435.5, $435.5 by 1356, and if I check these diagonally, it's just shy of 1425, just shy of 1425. It's maybe a smidgen less, but I'm talking like less than 1/4 of a mil. Now if I put these all together, I think you'll find they're all pretty darn good. So happy with those. Now what else we got? The rips. So B13, 6 by 42. Perfect. Perfect. And 45, I think this one was. Perfect. Now these ones, 1832, perfect by 133. 133, 133. This one was 1835, that's what I got, by 296. 296, 296. So all bang on the dimensions that I was after. So yeah, maybe if I were doing more rather than just these 2 sheets, I might sort of do it more systematically, whereby I keep the rip fence on and I do all those cuts first and then do all my cross cutting. However, you know, I think as you can see, using both the rip fence and the cross cut fence is doable if your machine is set up accordingly. So I wouldn't have it too much toe out and then be trying to use the rip fence in conjunction with the cross-cut fence. I think you'd really get yourself into trouble there. Okay, well there you have it. Maybe not the most comprehensive guide on using a sliding table saw, but it is the way I do it. I hope that what you get out of it is the importance of the setup of the machine itself. Certainly, if you're planning on cutting up sheet goods like I've shown here, where I'm using both sides, both the outrigger side and the rip side at the same time. Too much toe out and you're going to have issues. So I've got mine set up basically quite neutral, as you saw earlier on, where the toe out is very, very slight on both sides. So anyway, if you liked the video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you've got any other tips to add, because, you know, hey, I'm a wood machinist, I'm not a cabinet maker. So, you know, I'm not typically cutting up sheet goods on this thing all day, every day. And if there are cabinet makers out there that want to add some tips to this, then please drop those comments or whatever in the comment section below. So if you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing, because it will really help me out, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.